Yeah, let me introduce to you guys, this is Dr. Adil Khan, who is originally from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's traveling the world and he's spreading health and wealth with stem cells and all kind of treatments. So we're going to get to that in a second, Dr. Khan. But what I want to do is, because I know you're a bodybuilder too.
Yeah.
Is that something that you did from the beginning? Is that something you just started?
Well, yeah, since I was about 12 years now. Obviously, I'm drug-free, so I think I've reached what I can without drugs. So we'll see what's next. But
so you started bodybuilding in Canada, and that's why you
university, in university, natural bodybuilding. I've been doing it for over a decade now.
Yeah, and that's why you know all the Canadians like Regan and Ford. So tell me, so you're obviously still young. You're not like when you talk to doctors, you expect them to be 40, 50, 60 years old with a ton of experience, in which is not the same.
I was like, who's this guy?
Oh, by the way,
well, especially because it's so funny because I'm like into fitness too. So when people see me, they just assume like I'm a personal trainer or something. They're just like, this guy's a doctor. Like,
yeah. So let me ask you this: how long does it take in Canada for Canadian to be a doctor? How many years of school are we talking?
After high school, it takes to be a specialist, it takes 12 to 14 years.
Okay. So, and where are you now at this point? On what level?
I'm done. I'm a fully certified specialist doctor. I've been working for 5 years independently, but I subspecialized, which I kind of finished all that in the last, I guess, 2 years. But yeah, no, I'm done. I'm not in school or anything anymore. But I am on the younger side because I had good mentors and and then I look young, I guess, too. But I like to tell people I skip grades, which is not true. But
maybe I think I know what it is. I think maybe it has something to do with this. Do you do stem cells on yourself?
Well, I did a stem cell facial not too long ago. So.
Oh, really? So
that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Yeah.
It's too late. It's too late, Chris. It's too late.
It's better than
Chris, it's irreversible.
Damage is done.
So, doctor, I want to give you the chance here for all the listeners and also for Milos and Chris, who are very interested in hearing, because all of us have no idea about stem cells. We hear about it, but we don't really did a lot of research, because it wasn't that popular. Come to find out that it was more popular than we thought it was, but it's mostly with people with money and the higher society that were doing stem cells. And I found out afterwards, after talking to you, that there was a lot of people that I know that went for stem cell treatments. Not only Ronnie Coleman, who obviously is going to Mexico for stem cells.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for quite some time. So do me a favor. Tell us, what is it that you do? What is it that you specialize in? And you also, scientifically do a lot of research on whatever it is you do.
No, I'm just a witch doctor. So no, I'm joking. So I do I do a lot of work with regenerative medicine. So regenerative medicine is this field that was kind of birthed about 30 years ago. It was by this professor, Arnold, and the idea was that we can use what are called stem cells to try to repair and regenerate tissue to a previous state. So instead of taking drugs or instead of trying to cut things out, we can use these molecules to repair tissue. So what are stem cells? So Arnold Kaplan, as I was saying, he was the one who coined the term mesenchymal stem cells. Mesenchymal just means it's from a certain cell lineage. It's a scientific term, but the point is a stem cell is anything that can turn into different types of tissue and regenerate new tissue. It can divide. There's other specific characteristics, but those are all very scientific. But for just to understand at a very basic level, think of it as a molecule that can regrow new tissue. And that's what a true stem cell is. So obviously it's exciting, right? It's like, oh, if I can regrow new tissue, maybe I don't have to get surgery for a tear. Or maybe if I have osteoarthritis, I don't have to go get my joint replaced. Maybe I can regrow cartilage. So just thinking at that type of level, you're kind of like, oh wow, there's maybe a lot of applications for this. But it actually took 30 years. So 1992 was when the term was coined, mesenchymal stem cells, and then now we're in 2023 to actually get to a point where it's clinically applicable and that we can do a lot with it. So it took a long time and a lot of science to get to where we are today. And now we're actually finally kind of at the beginning of the end, I like to say. So which is like beginning of the end of like the space science phase and now into the clinical application phase. And so the next 20, 30 years are going to be really exciting, where we're going to see 3D bioprinting, which is like biofabrication, where you can regrow tissue, regrow organs, and then you can do what's called genetic cellular engineering, where you can actually cellularly program tissue to do what you want. So instead of having to take drugs for something, you can just program a cell and say, hey, target this specific pathway, and we can cure you. So instead of being on drugs for the rest of your life, you can actually cure patients. So that's why there's so much excitement in this field. And a lot of what I'm saying we'll get into, we'll deconstruct, but the gist of it is that we're looking more at treating the root cause and repairing tissue and curing people instead of just managing symptoms. And obviously pharmaceutical companies and surgeries and hospitals do not like this. So there's gonna be a lot of pushback, which is why it's great that people like you are raising awareness about it. But obviously Joe Rogan, Tony Robbins, they've been publicly talking about it for the past year. And they're two of the well-known personalities in the world. And so because they're talking about it so much too, there's just so much more excitement. And I think like what you said is really true, which is like, people are like, oh, celebrities do it, pro athletes do it, like all these wealthy people are doing it. And that's kind of how plastic surgery was in the 1980s. Like it was only like really exclusive, select people doing it. But then by the 1990s, more people started doing it. And in the 2000s, everyone's doing it. So stem cells are going to follow the same exact thing. So it was maybe just celebrities and high-end people in the last decade, but this decade is going to translate into the average, like to most people, like the higher net, like people who have money for the most part. And then I think in 2030 and so on, it'll be affordable to everyone. So it's going to become like a really revolutionary technology, and it's just like any disruptive technology. Innovation happens, and the manufacturing of stem cells and the cost and everything are going to come down. So that's like in a nutshell of like what and why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that it's expensive, but is there, because there's certain countries that do offer stem cell treatments. So now, is there a difference between stem cells and stem cells? Is it possible that somebody can go, let's say, to Mexico or to Colombia, where it's available, and he's going to get low quality stuff? Is that even possible?
100%. I mean, the States is a perfect example. In the States itself, because you can Google right now stem cell clinic in the United States, and there's 100 clinics that offer it, but none of them are actual stem cells because it's illegal to do stem cell injections in the US. So what are they offering? When they take your bone marrow or when they take your fat and they process it, they spin it, and they inject it back in, those aren't true stem cells. Those are just what are called progenitor cells, which are essentially little molecules that help reduce inflammation. They can help with pain, but they're not going to regrow new tissue. Remember what we talked about earlier, stem cell is what can regrow new tissue. So to get a true stem cell, you actually have to isolate it either from like umbilical cord, like, perinatal tissue, or from like an adult fat stem cell, and then take it to a lab, and then you have to grow it for 3 or 4 weeks. And then you have true stem cells, and those can regrow tissue.
So if someone wants a stem cell treatment, for whatever reason, does he have to wait 4 weeks for you to grow the stem cells?
If you're using your own stem cell, but now we have what's called allogeneic, which is like donated. So we have a bank of stem cells now. So you have umbilical cord stem cells you can use from anyone. So I'm sure you guys remember, like people, when babies are born, it was like let's freeze their stem cells, right? Let's keep them and see, and maybe in the future we can use them. So the thought there was that we had to use your own stem cells from your own child, but now we realize that you can use anyone's stem cells. You don't have to be the exact same like genetic lineage or anything like that. There's no immunoreaction. They're called immunoprivileged, so it doesn't trigger any immune response.
So my question to you as a doctor, as a specialist, would it be better to use my own stem cells, or it doesn't really matter?
No, man, you're old. Why would you use your own stem cells?
Damn stem cells.
What are you trying to say?
I want your damn stem cells.
Chris, you want some of my cells?
No, I don't want your. I want to pick my shit. I want to pick where it comes from.
So it doesn't matter if it's donated stem cells. It doesn't really matter.
No. Why? But why wouldn't you take an 18-year-old who's healthy and young fats or babies stem cells who are newborn fresh? Right? So it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer.
That makes sense. I'm just asking these questions because I want the listeners to understand, because they might have that question like, why would I take someone else's if I can use my own? If you're old, your stem cells ain't worth a nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
very little. But Dr. Khan, I mean, who was the first person that you know that did stem cells, and when was that? I do have a close friend of mine from Canada, right? That did this back in mid '90s, and you probably know him. He's deceased now, Charles Poliquin. Charles.
Oh,
yeah, he went to Switzerland back, like I think it was '96, '97. You know, for his shoulders. Are you familiar with him? And
it was the first. That was the first generation of stem cells, which I was talking about, where they just take your fat or your bone marrow stem cells and then they just inject them. So those, but in 1997, we didn't know that that wasn't a true stem cell. We know now that that's what's called a progenitor cell. So it can reduce inflammation, but it won't regrow new tissue. So it can still help with pain, but it's not a true stem cell.
Okay, so how is this different from PRP?
So yeah, PRP is literally where you're just taking your blood and you centrifuge it and you separate out the plasma. And the plasma is like that golden yellow color, and it's concentrated with platelets. But there's no cells in there. There's no actual cells. It's just growth factors that work with your immune system to reduce inflammation. So the big thing, think about it this way: when you actually have stem cells, they can grow into new tissue and do what's called engraftment, meaning they can engraft or implant themselves into tissue. Whereas PRP, or the old generation of stem cells, they don't engraft into new tissue. They just send signals to local tissue to say, hey, start healing. It's like a boost. It's like a spark plug. It's like just saying, like, giving it a little boost, saying like, start healing. But the stem cells are more than just a signal. They actually have raw material in them to regrow new tissue.
Yeah, but you said from a bone marrow. So Kevin Levroni, as you know, he did PRP. I remember talking to him, and he says like, oh yeah, he did it 4 or 5 times, and it was helpful. So I go to Serbia. I went to orthopedic clinic. My sister is also a doctor. I said like, oh, you guys are doing this? I say, yeah. So I was expecting it, and just draw my blood, centrifuge, and do this shit. And I'm laying down on the bed, and then I'm hearing a drilling. They went through my shin bone, and yeah, they took. I have on the video. I could send it. Like,
oh. They drilled in your leg for what?
For a PRP, right? But to take a bone marrow. So I was understanding, and a little knowledge that I knew of, that PRP can just.
Why would they take bone marrow for PRP when they should take the blood?
So that's my question today. That was my question.
Oh, so they probably you probably were a guinea pig out there in Serbia. They probably just said, let's just drill this dude for a little bit.
Yeah, I can send you the video. 1,000,000%. You see, I went there. I was not really educated. Just okay, this is a treatment, and they drilled 100%, right? The centrifuge, and then they injected in both of my knees. So did I get plasma?
You got what's called bone marrow aspirate concentrate, BMAC for short. And it's essentially the first generation of stem cells. So think of it like this way: there's like 3 generations of stem cells now. That's the first generation, where it reduces inflammation, doesn't really regrow new tissue. The second generation, which we talked about, where you isolate it and you grow it in the lab. And then the third generation is where we're going to use gene editing to actually modify the cells to do what we want. And that's what's being worked on now. So that's kind of like the trajectory of like the stem cell technology.
And just, I'm going to let you guys speak. I'm just excited because first I didn't know that you're
we're all excited.
Regan's doctor, So
Everybody's
next time Regan is there, take some his stem cells, give it to me. I'll take his 29 years old.
His bone would be really hard.
Yeah.
His bone would be hard to drill into, I imagine.
Really?
He has strong bone.
Bone density, yeah. But this is, as Dennis asked you, how many years in Serbia? My sister had to go 6 years to become a general practitioner, and then 4 more years for specialization for she's a surgeon, and then laparoscopy. So 6 plus 6, 12. So when you were, when you started your medical field, did you already have idea you're going to direct yourself into this new?
Yeah, because you guys get it, right? Bodybuilding was always like part of my life since I was like 19, and I remember watching Ronnie Coleman's videos about him like eating like 10 eggs and like just like being like his pile of supplements and everything. And for some reason, I just enjoyed watching him, and I don't know what it was. And then I was just kind of like, I got obsessed with fitness and health. And then I was like, I wanted to make a difference. It's simple, but so medicine seemed like the right choice to help people. But then when I got into med school, I was like, why would I just treat people with drugs and surgery when I can maybe like prevent this, or if there's other ways to do this? Like, so that's how I got into functional medicine and regenerative medicine, because it just made more sense to me. It's like you're going to the root cause, or you're trying to actually fix a person. You're not just trying to keep them a revolving door. And I think that just because of the perspective I had with fitness and bodybuilding, it always gave me that different perspective from other doctors. Like there was like 200 people in my class, and like I was the only one studying this stuff. You know, there was no one else studying this stuff. I was the only one, and everyone thought I was weird. But now, 10 years later, it's like becoming the norm, and everyone wants to get into this field.
Right.
I think I just saw like the right, and I do thank bodybuilding for it, because I think in bodybuilding, one of the biggest things is always pushing yourself and like being, it's progression, right? It's always about like, can I make myself stronger? Can I do more in the gym? And then that same mindset, I just applied that to research and science too.
Do you, in your experience in doing stem cells, do you have some success stories where you can say this is what the stem cells did to this person in any cases?
Oh man, I have hopefully my reputation speaks for itself at this point. With if people see my Instagram or social media, they can see some of the people. Obviously, you can't post all the high profile people, but I have thousands, but like, the best example I think I can give of someone who's high profile and is public, because we posted about it, he's the richest man in Dubai. His name's Mohammed Alabar. He's the owner of the Burj Khalifa and the 6th tallest buildings in the world. So he's friends, obviously connected with royal family, and he had the shoulder issue for like 20 years. He had like a rotate, and they did cortisone for it. They said, do physiotherapy, blah, 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 and it never got better. And he just kind of was living with it, doing physiotherapy 2-3 times a week for 20 years, because that's all he thought. Like he said, there's no other option. So then someone told him about me, and he was interested in doing PRP. So he flew me down. We found a tear, and I fixed it with PRP, and he was better after 6 weeks. And he's never had an issue ever since. And like, this guy is like, obviously he's the wealthiest man, so he's access to really any doctor in the world. But he didn't want to do it with just anyone. He wanted to have a really good doctor who's trustworthy. And I think to Milos's point, that's the problem. You can go to some doctor around the corner, and he can drill into your bone and do whatever. But there's a lot of issues with regulation in this space, so you just don't know what you're getting. And that's what you were saying too. Like, you can go to some random shady clinic in Tijuana and get stem cells, but who the hell knows what you're getting?
Right.
There's no quality control, and it's still a very poorly regulated space. And there's a lot of people trying to make money off people. So like, that's one of my things is like, I want to make it credible, and I want to become like the established brand to say like, no, you have to get a stem cell product from these manufacturers. You have to get PRP from these people. Like, you have to make sure it's high standards, and everyone's providing like the same quality of care when they're administering. Because it devalues the whole industry, because there's so many sketchy characters who are just trying to make money. So like, Fouad will tell you a perfect example, because I've injected Fouad everywhere, and but he's had PRP with other doctors, and it was way worse for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you practice this in Canada then, or?
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else, every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
I practice all over the world now, so I'm because of social media and stuff, I just I got headhunted to be here in Dubai, but I'm going to Mexico, and then I'm working in Florida, I'm working in Italy, and then I'm working obviously in Toronto and Canada too, yeah.
So you're branching out. You're branching out to several countries where you will be like a certain time of year, or a specific time where you're not going to be there all the time, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of like doing a world tour.
So now, are you going to put like a schedule on your Instagram where people know when are you going to be where?
I should. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I should do that.
What is your Instagram?
It's dr.akhan, Dr. Akhan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely, because
a lot of my content is out there, and I'm trying to promote it more. I just did Michaela Peterson's podcast, like Jordan Peterson's daughter and stuff. So that was a good one, because she's into health and fitness, and like she has a lot of good questions, and it's spreading the word for sure. But I think in the bodybuilding world, it's so needed, because look at RAMY, right? Like, obviously he lost Olympia, and everyone's like, what happened, and this and that, and right, and like, so, and everyone knows that I'm treating RAMY now, and like, so it's knowledge out there, but we're not going to reveal the big treatment plan until he's better. But I'm pretty confident I'm going to make him better, and he's going to win Olympia again, and it's going to be exciting to see that. But there's going to be a lot of, I think, excitement in the bodybuilding world, because there's a lot of guys injured and don't know what to do, and it gives them hope, like maybe there's something for them to help them.
But you see the issue or a problem in RAMY that you can actually fix, and what do you think that's going to happen after you are satisfied with your results?
I'm confident I can fix him, and I can't reveal too many details about what's going on with him, but he's going to get better with the treatment we're going to do. We're doing mainly stem cell treatments for him, but to me, it was more, there's different theories. Obviously, a lot of people are speculating what it could be and stuff. I personally, don't think I personally don't think it's a structural issue. I think it's more nervous system related. So I'm working on treating his nervous system with the stem cells and with something called ANF, which is neurofrequency. It's a special type of neurofrequency which reprograms the nervous system. So yeah, we're doing some cool cutting edge stuff with him, and hopefully get him back to being Mr. O again.
And do you think you could get me back to my 1999 form?
Hell no.
That would be great.
we just got to get Benjamin Button's stem cells.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's
That
stem.
would be great.
We know stem cells all for injuries, pain, and now, I mean, with all these years of using stem cells, and this is what I heard you speaking on Fuad's podcast, that stem cells is also good for other diseases like kidney disease, autoimmune diseases. Like I talked to you about an autoimmune disease that I was diagnosed with, and you said that this is absolutely something that will help me keep my inflammation level down.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the 4 functions of stem cells. So one is anti-inflammatory. Another is immunomodulatory, so meaning it helps to strengthen or reprogram your immune system. Another is regenerative, which we talked about a lot, like regrowing tissue. And then the 4th is antifibrotic, so meaning it helps with scar tissue and preventing and treating scar tissue. So fibrosis, especially, because you can get scar tissue or fibrosis in different organs. So because of those 4 functions, it has such a broad range of indications and what it can help with. So if you think about it, what's an autoimmune condition? It has to do usually with gut inflammation, like leaky gut, and then also with the immune system. 70% of your immune system is in the gut, right? So it helps with the lining of the gut, but it also helps to reprogram your immune system. And then you can use that in combination with peptides to help treat autoimmune conditions. And then same thing with like organ disease. What is most organ disease? Chronic organ disease is it's fibrosis, it's scar tissue, it's inflammation, and it's loss of tissue. And so you can regenerate new tissue, you can reduce the inflammation, you can get rid of the scar tissue. So that's why it helps with something. For example, I treated a lot of patients with long COVID who had pulmonary fibrosis or scar tissue on their lungs. And the IV stem cells work amazing. It's like, it can be life-changing for them because they can breathe again, And then, but then you can use it for pancreas with type 2 diabetes, with type 1, type 2 diabetes. So it's really amazing. The applications and the indications are really broad-reaching.
It can't reverse type 1 diabetes, right? That would be a long stretch. Can it? Can it reverse?
So there is mice data on that. There hasn't been human data yet. Theoretically, it could, because type 1 diabetes is autoimmune related, right? So if you can potentially get the antibodies down, so it's not attacking the pancreas anymore. So there is some people doing research with that.
So when someone, let's say someone says, okay, I want to do this. I have this. Let's talk about me. I have this undifferentiated connective tissue disease, which is not active, I think, because I don't have the pain in my joints like the doctor said that would happen, maybe possibly in the future. But so if I come see you now, which I will, what can I expect? How fast would I be able to tell or feel the stem cells working? How long will they last? And how often do I have to do it?
So I think for you, we're doing it mainly like we're doing the intravenous stem cells more for like longevity and anti-aging, right? Because you don't have kidney issue or anything, right?
I have undifferentiated connective tissue disease.
Yeah, but you're not like inflamed. You're like kind of in remission. Or like
my inflammation level, I think it should be 30 or under, and my number was 59.
Okay, so yes. So for that, that's a concrete marker that we can track. And usually the inflammation will go down within 2 to 3 months. So some people within a month will notice a big difference. In terms of how they feel, like most people will report, less pain, more energy, a better recovery, better cognition and focus. That usually takes 2 to 3 months. But can take up to 6 months. And then typically people, if you're doing it for that purpose, usually every 2 years is how often you would need it, maybe every 3. But like to give you a really good example, like I had an NHL player who went to Germany to do the IV treatment. He was 35, so not like super old, but for NHL, he was kind of getting achy pain. And he was like, maybe I should just retire. And then he did the IV treatment. And then after 6 months, he said he felt like he was 25 again. And he said he's going to keep playing. So like, it's amazing to see that type of feedback. And if you're a pro athlete, you have the means to do it. It's like a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why wouldn't you do it? Because the best part about the treatment is there's no risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no real downside to it. And that's the thing in medicine is, do no harm, right?
Well, if you can send me back to 25, I'm all in.
But frequency.
You might need more than one infusion.
Listen, so if Dennis goes there, right? How many times does he need to receive that treatment? Like
for something like that, it would just be a one-time thing. It takes an hour and a half. Yeah.
So one IV bag for how long? A couple of hours?
Like 2 hours, yeah, like hour and a half, 2 hours. It's pretty simple.
So do I have to? So there would be no preparation. It was just me coming in, you hooking me up to the IV. I'm sitting there chilling for an hour and a half. I get up and walk away.
That's it. We have everything prepared because we have a stem cell bank. So it's really convenient, and that's why it's one of those things that's becoming for people who have the means to do it. Like everyone's kind of going to do it. Because there's no real downside and there's a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Where is the bank?
You gonna rob the bank?
Yeah.
I just want to know where it's at.
No, I mean, I know Dr. Adil. He works in Dubai. He works in somewhere in Italy. I'm not sure what city it is.
Milan.
In Milan, Italy. He says he's going to Mexico, Los Cabos, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This will be a nice trip, man. Los Cabos. We can get stem cell. Chris, and we can have, we can have a long weekend.
Yeah.
We'll come back and we'll come back feeling 25.
All right.
So no, do you also do stem cell treatment in Toronto?
No, it's illegal in Canada.
It's illegal. So it's kind of like here where the government doesn't want that to come out because they know they would lose.
The lobbies are too strong, the politics and all that stuff. I am doing a clinical trial. So there's 3 doctors approved in Canada to do stem cells. I'm one of them, but I can only do it under clinical trial. So it's very specific indications. So for like knee osteoarthritis or hip osteoarthritis, like very specific reasons. So I can't just do it for like anti-aging or longevity. Like you have to travel for that. So yeah.
Yeah. How if let's say there might gonna be a few saying, okay, I want to do this. Do you have a price, just an idea for people to know if it's even something that they can afford?
Yeah, it ranges. Like the anti-aging stuff ranges from 20 to 30,000 US. There's the other manufacturer stem cell company we have. They charge 75,000 US, which is a lot. And I think it's a little bit more marketing though, because they're saying that their stem cells, again, it's like one of those things where it's like, our stem cells are the best, therefore we're going to charge more. But from what I've seen clinically, like you don't need to, like we have really good umbilical cord stem cells, and like the $20,000 price range is usually what we charge for that. And I don't feel like we're gouging people, but there are people charging 75,000 for the same thing.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like some personal trainers to me. With all the all marketing.
It is, and marketing. But that's the problem, right? When you have an unregulated industry, it comes down to marketing. Who's the best marketer? And that's why we're going out here and doing these podcasts and trying to get the word out.
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to think of questions that the average listener would have, the average person who is interested in doing something, because you know how it is. And especially in our industry, there's a lot of guys that have some health issues. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to keep it all wrapped up so nobody ever knows. So, but this is good for everybody. So at the end of the day, if someone wants to say, okay, I want to do the treatment, how can they contact you or your office or your secretary? How can they arrange for them to get stem cell treatment?
I should just get one of those maps where it's like pins so people know where I am at all times or something.
You should do that. But how can they contact you? Is there email or phone number?
They can, just my email. Honestly, my Instagram has literally contact info. There's an email on there, and just email directly to that. And I'm pretty responsive, or my assistants will be responsive. I do get a lot of DMs. I try my best to keep up, but I'm sure you guys know with DMs, it's like sometimes that you miss them, and but like I've tried my best to keep up because so many people just love to DM and they just refuse to email. And it's been actually, it's a funny like thing with Instagram because I check my DMs, like there's literally been a few patients like I've been able to like kind of save their life or like really make a big difference on their life. And if I hadn't checked my DM, I wouldn't have been like, they would have never got the help.
Right.
So that's why I'm like pretty, I'm pretty good on DMs, but it may get to a point where it's impossible. But for now, I can still keep up with for the most part.
So right off the top of your head, do you know how much longer you're going to be in Dubai and when you're going to go and where you're going to go next? Do you have already a...
Yeah, I'm in Dubai. I'm in Dubai till April, and then I'm in Toronto for like 2 weeks. Then I'm off to Mexico till May, and then end of May.
So you're going to Mexico end of April to
20th,
May?
20th to 22nd, yeah.
April 20th.
And then I'm off to Italy in end of May, like after the NHL and NBA season, because we have a lot of pro guys coming down for the IB stuff after their season.
So as a patient, I can choose where I'll meet you?
Yeah, because you pick your destination.
Okay, and it still will be the same treatment, it will be the same quality?
I have the same suppliers for stem cells anywhere I go in the world.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so is there a price difference in certain countries? Like, would it be more expensive?
Dubai is the only place that's a little bit more expensive because it's Dubai.
Okay, I'm only asking these questions because I know some listeners that's the question that they would have. So it's more expensive to do it in Dubai. It will be probably a little bit cheaper in Mexico.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. And then in Italy,
it's just, that's actually the same as Mexico, which
same. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is just so we get all these questions in.
Well, I am actually going to Japan. I'm going to Japan too, but I don't know if you have any Japanese listeners. But if I'm going, it's a funny story. So, do you? Yeah. So there was a girl. She's a big influencer on Instagram, and she's a vlogger. And it's a sad story. So what happened was they did a spinal tap in Japan at the hospital. So spinal tap is when you go in and you have to get some fluid to diagnose like a medical condition into the spinal cord or the cerebral spinal canal. And then she got infection and she got inflammation of the whole spinal cord. It's called arachnoiditis. And so she's had severe pain in both legs and like nerve pain. She can't walk. She's literally bedridden and no one in Japan will help her. And the doctors there aren't like taking responsibility and she's just literally stuck. So then she has a big platform on social media. So then she blogged about it and then someone tagged me and then we're like, can you please go help her? And then we connected. So she's literally bedridden in Japan looking for help. So I'm going to fly down to do IV stem cells for her.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully fix her.
So you travel with the stem cells in your back?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be cold?
It does. It's a special container we take with us.
Oh, that's cool. So you can travel. You can travel from house to house and just hook people up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the dream. That's the dream. Eventually, I'm gonna have a private jet with my own stem cell facility in there and just fly around and do IV drifts around the world.
Hey, listen, I don't even think that's something that's very possible in the future, because if this is really what I think it is, then I think there's going to be a lot of people coming after you for some stem cells.
100%.
Exactly.
But you see, interesting thing is, you said in America, Canada, I don't know how it's in Japan, you would not be approved to do all that stem cells does. So if it's anti-inflammatory, immunity, regeneration, the fibrosis, right? Don't you have to have a medical license to do it? And if that's why you're doing it in Dubai and in Italy and Mexico. But can you do it in Japan? I mean, my wife is Japanese. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I luckily I know a doctor there locally, and he's helping me with the medical license process over there.
Yeah.
So usually what I do is I work under their medical license. So I have a colleague there, and I work under his medical license to administer treatments.
I mean, as the dentist, as you said, it's no brainer. That's medicine of the future. Like, there's no reason all of us shouldn't do it, right?
I'm telling you. I mean, everybody puts so much money in their body with shit that hurts you. So now it's time to put some money in your body that will help you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't have any issues. It's just, for me, it's just a matter of, am I going to go to Dubai before he's leaving? But if he's coming to Mexico, I've never been to Los Cabos. I mean, I always wanted to go to Los Cabos. Me and Chris had that on our bucket list. Yeah. Either way, either I'm coming to Dubai or I'm going to see you in Los Cabos. But I promise you, 100%, I'm going to do the stem cell treatment.
Okay, let me get on the table now. So,
okay, and the thing that you said, how old are you, Dr. Khan?
I'm 34.
Yeah, you're a baby face.
Baby face. We call him baby face, yes.
Baby face, yeah. But, so what kind of treatment did you do for your face? You said in the beginning.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you probably have a lot of women fitness models, bodybuilders who listen to you, right? And so I'm sure, I mean, men too, whatever. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking good if you're a guy too. But women love to do Botox, right? And Botox and fillers. But the problem is Botox, it's a neurotoxin, right? So neurotoxin meaning it paralyzes the muscle, and which is great for wrinkles, preventing wrinkles. But then over time, it almost always stops working. And then it also impairs blood flow, and it atrophies the muscle. So meaning the muscles get weaker over time. And when your muscles in the face become weaker, then you're gonna sag more, and then you're gonna have more wrinkles, and you're actually gonna look worse when it stops working. So the best alternative to that is the opposite, which is try to regenerate tissue through stem cells and stimulate production of new fibers. And then also we combine it with something called radiofrequency, which is a skin tightening technology from Korea. And then it tightens the skin as well. So they call it a non-surgical facelift. So they use stem cells, exosomes, and the radiofrequency together. It's like a cosmetic package.
And how do you apply that? It's like a mask?
They basically numb your face, and then it's just a bunch of needles.
It's like micro needling.
It's a bit more intense than that. They're bigger needles than that.
So is it painful?
But they numb it. With the numbing, it's fine.
So listen, so.
Oh, Chris, now you done got Chris. Oh, yeah. He just woke up.
You're on the bodybuilder channel. I heard you saying injection. I heard you saying damage. I heard you saying a lot of things a lot of bodybuilders do. And what's that going to do in long term to the muscle that they're actually injecting? Like you said it, like it was like, I don't know. I just think that it's got to be something to it, to where bodybuilders can see, a lot of great value in this.
Chris,
what you do.
Chris, was that a question?
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's like.
What's the question?
Okay, so listen, here's my thing. So I have injected in my body. Are you doing all this intravenously or
it depends what we're doing.
Injections?
Yeah, a lot of it, the anti-aging stuff is intravenous, but some stuff we do local injections, like for even for kidney and stuff like that, or for joints, muscles, tendons.
So cartilages are gone out of both my knees. Is that something that can help me there?
So yes, so we can use the expanded stem cells, like the one I was saying, where we grow, and it can actually regrow some of the cartilage, but it can get rid of the inflammation and the pain, and that can last for 10 years or longer. Now, if you want to completely regrow your cartilage, we're about 2 years away from that. What we use is there's clinical trials being done right now. It's a 3D bioprinter. So they use what's called a synthetic polymer hydrogel. So essentially you print like a scaffold, which is made up of hyaluronic acid, is biodegradable, and then you seed it with the stem cells. And then it resurfaces the entire joint. It grows you a new knee, basically.
So, but Chris, with 60, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be all right.
And also, I have a L4, L5 fused.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Yeah.
And I also have a C7. I feel like it's just not even there anymore. So I
Yeah.
feel like
So you'd be a great candidate for like the IV plus some injections. Like I could get you out of pain.
That's what I've been saying, man. Los Cabos.
Yeah, come on.
I'm trying to tell you.
plus I had a staph infection in my spine to where I was paralyzed at a certain time.
I didn't know Chris
And
was
this
that
is
sick.
like top, and my neck is jacked up because I got 2 played on my head when I was wrestling.
What's wrong with your
So
feet?
my neck, huh?
What's wrong with your feet?
Oh, I have drop foot on my left foot. So it's hard to, I mean, it's regenerate, the nerves regenerated a lot, but it's not 100%. But I would like it closer to 100.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause you got a little
Like-
little numbness going on in that left toe, and I
Yeah,
want to keep it. I want to keep it.
I mean, Ronnie was one of the big reasons why I actually got into I was in this getting into the space, but then like I was doing a lot more work with like PRP and stuff, and then I had a phone call.
and my
with
shoulder, sorry.
Yeah,
And my shoulders jacked up.
because you remind me of Ronnie. 'cause-
Chris is all jacked up.
I'm on.
Yeah, exactly. But
One surgery
Like
though. One.
like when I talked to Ronnie on the phone, like it was like maybe a year ago now actually, like, and I treat, you guys know Big Val, his buddy, but anyway, he's like his best friend, but anyway, so yeah, I treat him, so that's how I got connected to Ronnie. And then so when I talked to Ronnie on the phone, I was like, oh, like, cause I was like, oh, maybe I can help him and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I actually went down to Mexico and I got IV stem cells and like all my pain's gone. And I was like,
Yeah, he told me that. But he went there but so many times though. I guess he went there a few times already.
Yeah, because this is severe. He probably had to get like 2 or, and he's big, so he probably had to get like 2 or 3 treatments. But the fact that he went from like a 10 out of 10 pain and could barely walk to having no pain, like there's obviously something to it, right? Just from an anecdotal.
No,
perspective.
I asked him. He said yes. He said he's pain. He have pain free. And when the pain comes back just a little bit, then he said he goes back for another treatment or something similar.
He was on painkillers a long time.
He was on the strongest. He was on like OxyContin, like 8-10 pills a day. Like it was
30 milligrams. I remember him telling me 30 milligrams tabs. I didn't even know they had 30 milligrams.
They have 40.
Yeah, so he was on some serious painkillers, man. That shit's crazy. So it's good to see him now. I just saw a video of him sitting in the leg pressing like it was nothing, you know. So it's good to see that, though. It's good.
What is disturbing to me, I mean, I'm listening to all that stuff. So it's equivalent to medical industry wants you to be healthy as much as war industry want no war. Right? They want the business.
That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
I mean, really. So in your field, you're already specialized. That makes so much sense. I mean, come on. You know, if something makes sense, it cannot hurt you. Like you say, it's no downside. It can help regenerate, help heal. How on earth is not approved yet? And do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? When is going to be? I mean, everybody should be on it.
I don't feel like that's the goal though. Like,
Yeah.
They want you to keep coming back.
When do you expect it?
Coming back? Go ahead.
So the pharmaceutical industry and the medical system, it has the same playbook as the tobacco industry and the big food industry. So if you guys have studied history a little bit, you probably know, like the tobacco industry used to get doctors to smoke for them, and they used to promote smoking, and the doctors used to say, hey, smoking is good for you. And then eventually they're like, oh, wait, it's not good for you. It actually kills you. And then the food industry had doctors promoting margarine and like processed sugars and refined foods. And now we're like, oh, wait a minute, that stuff kills you. And now it's the same, and the pharmaceutical industry has the same playbook, which is, get doctors to buy in, promote the stuff, and then eventually it comes out being like, oh, wait, that stuff is actually terrible for you. So I think people are becoming smarter because of social media and self-education. So there's going to be so much patient-driven demand that eventually the FDA and all these people are going to have to give into it. I think that's the way it's going to go, because, or else people are just literally going. There's millions of people a year now going offshore to get treatments.
Right.
So like, what are the hospitals going to do? What are the clinics going to do? They're going to be, where's all the patients? So eventually they're going to have to approve it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen through the regulatory bodies because they're corrupt. 70% of the funding for FDA comes from pharmaceutical donations. So they keep their best interests of their lobbyists and the people who support them. They want pharmaceuticals to be the main treatment still. So it's not going to be anytime soon that FDA is going to approve these treatments. It's going to have to be patient driven and and driven by the individual until it gets to such a big point that they can't fight it anymore.
Damn.
Well,
Yeah, no, it's sad.
So do you think that before the Arnold Classic we could see a difference in RAMY, or is it going to be ongoing?
Surprise.
After that?
But I did see him practice pose a few days ago, and I mean, I'm not a judge, so I take it for a grain of salt. But to me, he looked a lot better. So
Yeah, damn, I'm liking that. I mean, yeah, but you know what though? That's the one thing. Like, as far as RAMY placed at the Olympia from where his goal was, he's still a good bodybuilder. People acting like he's not capable of doing.
yeah, I don't know where that came from. The narrative. They're like, he's done. He's retired. He should just quit. He should just quit.
Impressive. Yeah, he's always looked really impressive to everybody. So, I mean, and the situation he already had that situation going when he already won anyway. It's just that you just got to have everything else on tact where you're not, paying attention to, something that's less flattering on the physique, but you're still a very impressive bodybuilder, man. Let me get that straight.
Doc, do you follow the bodybuilders nowadays?
Not as much as I was definitely more in the era of Ronnie J, Dorian Yates. Even though I'm not that old, I just for some reason that and even Columbo and Schwarzenegger and those days. For some reason there was a chart. I don't know. I like the physiques better personally. I don't like the monstrous big bellies and the all that stuff either. That was just my personal preference.
What you laughing for?
Go to the right place, buddy.
Hey, so if we would talk about the Arnold lineup right now, would you know who we're talking about?
It depends which. Are you talking about open bodybuilding?
Yeah, open bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know now because I'm with RAMY and I'm I kind of know who's his competitors are and everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know
Sizing them up.
do you know the lineup at the Arnold, like Nick Walker?
I don't know the lineup at the Arnold. No.
Okay, because I would want to talk bodybuilding too. We want to test your expertise as a bodybuilder.
I'm so busy with everything that it's one of those things that only reason I know about it is when I treat the people. For example, when I treat Reagan or when I treat Antoine or I treat whoever, I'm like, oh, so they're at this place or they're doing this or this is their competitor. Or I treated Samson Duwada too, and I was impressed. He got 5th place or something, right? He did really well.
Sixth.
Yeah. And it was awesome to see. He came to me with the shoulder and a tricep tear, and we fixed it easily with PRP, and it was amazing to see how fast and how.
Oh, so Samson is also one of your patients.
Yeah, he flew from. He was visiting from UK.
Oh, so Fuad hooked that up for him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense. So yeah, so let's talk about the Arnold real quick, man, a little bit. I mean, do we have any more questions regarding the stem cell and PRP? Any questions?
I mean, I'm overwhelmed with the information. I really appreciate it so much. But
that was a good idea to bring Dr. Adil on.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because I know there's so much more information. I'll probably come up with some more questions after
we'll
we're
make
done.
content when you're down.
Yeah.
For sure. But it's
awesome,
just super disturbing to me that this kind of treatment that can treat and helps millions. It's
sad.
not approved.
Sad, yeah. I think you guys have a big platform. So you guys. I think everyone's job at this point is to really raise awareness and share about it.
Yeah.
There's still millions of people suffering and they don't know that there's other options for them. And obviously as a doctor, my job is always to try to help people. And that's the whole reason I became a doctor. It wasn't just to keep people on pain meds and try to get money out of them. You know what I mean? And so we have, you're saying, we have a real solution. Why aren't we promoting it?
Yeah, but here's the question, because as the FDA approved, right, you have to prove that whatever you're doing, whatever supplement or treatment is working. Until you prove, you cannot claim it, right? But you guys have such a success stories. If you do some research and document it, and you treated this, right? Isn't that the proof that now?
How many years do you have to test a product before it get FDA approved?
There's 1,500 papers on mesenchymal stem cells. It's not a few hundred. There's over 1,000 now. There's so many research papers and clinical trials and papers out there. So it's not that there isn't evidence. It's just that the FDA wants a very specific way of evidence, which is like a drug trial. They want someone to fund a $30 to $50 million drug trial where they're using like multiple centers and certain criteria, and they're using stem cells and they're standardizing everything. So they want very specific criteria, and that's the only way they'll approve it. But that's just like the Western model. That's not anywhere else in the world. Who decided that's the best way to do things? Like, it's just a very arbitrary way to say this is the way we're going to regulate things. Because if you think about it, there's, like you're saying, there's been not hundreds of, there's been millions of people treated with stem cells now, if you count Korea and China and Japan and everywhere else in the world. So you have millions of people who have success stories, and you're going to say it still doesn't work. What do we need? Like, do we need a randomized trial to see if parachutes work? Like, do parachutes not work? Like, there's no studies on it, but it's so stupid.
I'm selling a parachute. I used it once and never opened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the whole model is like, it's just a weird way of thinking, you know?
Hey, but I forgot to say, I didn't want to interrupt you when you were talking about the BOTOX. I never made a public confession. Back in 1999, I was in Canada, and I did the BOTOX because my ex convinced me. 99. I was 45 years old, right? You know, no reason for it. But I say, okay, in Canada, oh my God, this was like somebody would tape you like this and hold you.
Oh, you were using Botox back in the 90s?
99.
No wonder you got all the covers.
Yeah.
Milos is pretty boy.
I was no longer on the covers.
I use Botox. In my armpit.
How many times?
In my armpits. No,
Oh, yeah?
no shit. I didn't know. I talked to a doctor, you know, and I said, for whatever reason, I told him about my problem sweating. He said Botox can fix it. Not permanently, but he said he can fix it, it can help you. So when I went and I got it done for nothing, he put Botox in my armpits. And I swear to God, it took 5-6 days later, I did not sweat. I was working out, everything was wet but my armpit.
Oh my God.
And it lasted almost a year. So I literally get it done like every year when that season starts, where I start, you know, when you don't even sweat and all of a sudden you feel it running down your arm. That shit bothers. That shit bothered the hell out of me.
That's a medical condition. It's called hyperhidrosis.
Yeah, but I only have it very sometimes. It's not all the time.
Well, I had that in my butt crack, then I'd be fucking doing my thing in the gym.
But it really works. I don't know, but now you're telling me that this can in the future give you issues and shit.
I mean, your armpit's not really a cosmetic area, so I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't walk around.
you're
I
not
don't
going
walk around like this.
Not going every 2 months.
Yeah, no, this is literally like once a year or maybe a year, sometimes even longer.
Okay. But Dr. Khan, did you ever compete yourself?
No, but I think I could see myself doing like a physique. I'm actually trying to diet right now. I'm trying to get to like 6-7%, maybe at 10-11%. It's really hard when you're natural, as you guys, I'm sure you know, when you work with natural athletes, it's not easy to maintain that muscle and then also look good, because I don't want to just look skinny, and I want to keep my strength and everything. Yeah. And it's really tricky. So I'm trying to, keep my protein high, trying to do a lot of strength training, and I take HMB, like leucine, for anti-catabolic stuff. And I'm trying to do everything I can to preserve muscle while I'm dieting. But it is definitely challenging.
Like here's perfect example. Doctor is much in it, is very educated. You say high protein. How much protein are you taking?
1 gram per pound of body weight. So like 180 grams.
Up to 1.5, trust me. I even recommend it to 2 grams, but 1.5. 1 could be like maintenance, but if you want hypertrophy and increase your cellular natural, it's harder. Okay, you can't build a house with the 3, 4, 5 bricks. You need more bricks, right, to build a mansion. So increase the protein. That's the first thing. So how much you weigh? 200 pounds?
I'm like 175, 180. 175.
So that would be just less than 300 pounds, 300 grams, 250. That's 5 meals of 50.
Right,
it's very, very easy. That's only 1,000 calories right there, right? But that would be, I just insist, first advice, because you need that constant influx of amino acids in the bloodstream for everything and anything. And speaking of that, would higher protein diet influence the stem cell regeneration, when you use it, or has no influence?
High protein, it probably has no influence. In terms of diet in general, like the only thing that maybe help enhance stem cell function would be like fasting. Like if you fast, it can maybe promote the function of the stem cells. But other than that, I don't know of anything that's been really shown to make a huge difference from like a dietary perspective.
All right. And the other question is, why are you natural?
actually, so I've reached my genetic ceiling. I'm pretty sure. And I'm sure it's an interesting topic. I don't know if you guys have, there's something called the fat-free mass index, which is FFMI, and there's PhD papers on how much muscle can a natural body put on. And so I think I'm close to my genetic ceiling based off what I've read and everything. So I'm actually going to try this new treatment. I'm trying not to go on anabolics, but it's called follistatin gene therapy, FST.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
So FST is the first actual approved, or it's not approved yet, but it's the first therapy they're using it in South America that actually blocks myostatin.
This is
So
you're
I'm
talking about a peptide.
Yeah.
No, it's not a peptide. It's actually it's a plasmid. So it's a bacteria vector that carries this gene therapy to activate transcription factors that activate follistatin. And follistatin blocks myostatin and activates the FOXO pathway. So myostatin, I'm sure you guys know, is like the holy grail of like bodybuilding forever, because if you have a myostatin deficiency, you look like Ronnie Coleman, or you look like those big cows, right? Who just have like endless amounts of muscle. So this is the first therapy in the world that can block myostatin and have no side effect. So I'm doing it on myself in a couple of weeks. So I'll be documenting my results and progress, and I'm hoping it can break my genetic ceiling, and I'll see how far I go with it. But I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, if those study papers come out, everybody's going to be on it. Yeah, Dennis.
Everyone's going to be on it, and that's why we're excited. I'm working with that company they reached out to me to help them with some stuff. So I'm excited to try it, and then we'll see how it goes.
I'm a researcher myself. Can you send it my way too?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you come to Dubai, I can do it for you. It's just a subcutaneous injection. It's pretty.
I was just there 2 months ago.
Milo's going to put in his bicep.
Yeah. So it's just a one injection only?
And it lasts for 1.5 to 2 years.
Oh wow.
Amazing. Yeah, it's the crazy technology. One of the investors in the company, his name's Peter Thiel. He's the PayPal guy, and he invested in the company. So this company is going to be big. It's just started. It's a startup.
I see all kinds of lights flashing up in MILOS'S place right now. Bing, bing,
I'll ask
bing.
Regan for your phone number.
MILOS,
Put the white coat on.
MILOS, would you want to get big again?
Hell yeah.
Really?
Of course. I mean, listen,
Hell yeah.
when I was 282, that was my max, right? 282. And I was uncomfortable and all that stuff, right? But then a few years back, I'm thinking oh man, that was a goddamn good feeling.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind when you feel that power, you feel the size. Yeah, a little discomfort here and there. But if you are athletic and you do shit, even though it's...
You weigh now?
So how much
How much you weigh now?
how much you weigh now?
Sorry?
Yes.
240, but I don't want to talk about my fat percentage.
To be honest, I can't even imagine you being fat. Knowing you, I can understand that the metabolism will slow down eventually.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's going to show, it happened to me. I was never fat. I was watery, but I was never fat. And I ate, doesn't matter what I ate. But I'm at a point where I can tell, shit's happening and I'm eating clean. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Something's going the wrong way, So, I mean, I think it gets, once you get to a certain age, your body just wants to just.
It's discouraging, man.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
That's how we keep you young. That's how we keep you young. So I've developed the most, I think, comprehensive anti-aging protocol in the world. So
Yeah.
it's five things.
You know what I hate, Dennis? I hate when I lay on the bench and I feel rolls and stuff that was never there ever in my life, like under my butt and under my, my back. It feels weird, and then I can't lift what I used to lift. It's just depressing.
Yeah, but at least you're on the bench. I'm not even on the bench.
But I'm saying I hate the way it feels.
I know.
It's
I
like,
hate.
oh my God.
The worst is when somebody comes and give you a hug, man, and they touch you right in the fucking muffin top.
Hey,
Get
you
the-
know you felt something. That shouldn't be there. I know it shouldn't be there, but
Yeah.
we interrupted. Dr. Khan was saying that you have a most comprehensive protocols.
Yeah, he mentioned it with the stem cells.
No, but
So, well, if you want to stay, yes, so it's the IV stem cells. It's hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's the follistatin gene therapy, so the FSC, and then it's certain peptides like CJC and BPC because they help to facilitate stem cell function and help with healing of the gut. And then it's FMT, which is fecal microbial transplant, which is taking poop from a young person and putting it into an old person. So
hold on. That doesn't sound right. Say it again.
What?
You're taking young man shit and putting it in an old man's ass.
I'm gonna get my nephew.
it makes you live longer.
Hold on a second. That's most interesting and disturbing thing I've ever heard in my life.
I heard.
What was that protocol number 5?
FMT. You've never heard of FMT?
No.
Fecal microbial transplant.
No.
So it's actually an FDA-approved therapy now for inflammatory bowel disease. So people who get Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, they have so much inflammation in their colon, and so when you actually take poop from a healthy young person, it changes the whole ecosystem of their colon, and you just do it by colonoscopy. So people donate poop now. You can donate your poop if you're healthy.
Oh shit! I got plenty to donate.
I know some friends that need that.
I mean,
I can donate 5 times a day.
yeah, this ridiculous thing is.
Milos, you're safe. If you need some, I got some for you. So now, but here's the thing, Milos. Obviously, I see how interested this is for you. We should all book our flights.
I'm serious, man.
I know you're serious. I
I'm
can
not
see it. I
doing
can
this,
see it. I can see it.
treatment. I'm not putting any fucking excuse my language shit from young person into myself, for whatever reason.
No shit. But what about the stem cells? They're coming from
Yeah, everything. The 4 protocols sounds great, but the 5th one, there's
It's
more
optional.
work
I
without the
always
5th.
say that FMT is optional. Because a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah. It doesn't contribute that much, right? So we can leave it out.
Oh man, if we do all 5, we might as well take a little shit.
Yeah.
Come on
you
now.
and Chris split mine as a 5th one. You get the bonus plan.
Hey,
Squat in the yard.
the FM, what's it called? FMH?
FMT.
FMT. That would have to be when we get back from the club. That would be the only time.
You might as well administer it now.
But also, I didn't get the final answer. Dr. Khan, are you planning to compete?
I think I will eventually when I decide to probably not be natural anymore, which I'm sure everyone will know by size and stuff. I think I decided at some point I want to be enhanced. Just because I love training, and the problem is you can only get so far naturally. And I think I've reached that, and I've been training 10 years really hard, and I've seen the problem is I know I don't know if you follow any natural bodybuilders, but there's one guy named Jeff Alberts who's been doing it for 30 years. He's 51, and he looks incredible, but he hasn't really put on any size from 40 to 50, 51. He looks the same, and I just can't see myself going for another 15 years and not changing my physique and working so hard. So I think I'm going to have to do something at some point, and I'll probably get Dorian. I'll talk to Dorian Hamilton, maybe get him to coach me, but we'll see.
But,
My advice, stay being a doctor, man. This is how you get rich.
I love bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding though. I
That's
can't
it.
help it. It's part of who I am.
Yeah, well,
and I've been doing it.
keep training, but keep making that
I'm
paper.
going to keep training, but it's not like I want to be like 300 pounds or something. I just want to keep making progress. So we'll see. I mean, I haven't decided yet, but
The good thing about being natural, at least you're not shrinking and grading
Yeah,
and
you don't-
shrinking and
yeah.
gaining.
You don't have to worry
That's
about
better.
losing 15 pounds if you travel
Yeah.
if you travel from Dubai to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be on your mind.
yeah. No, it's one of those things though. I'm sure you guys know too. Like when you love training so much, you just want to like, especially when you're like, you know, you love seeing the progress, right? And when you stop seeing progress, it becomes kind of for me at least not as fun. Because it's just like I'm not really growing anymore, and I can get a little bit stronger, but barely any. You know what I mean?
I have to throw this in because we don't have a doctor on the podcast all the time. So this is real life situation. So you're into the bodybuilding and you understand the medicine. Anabolic steroids, right? Anabolism is constructive metabolism. It's constructive. It's not destructive. People are just, it can be damaging me. How is damaging? When do you give anabolic steroids? To all the medically catabolic patients, burns, cachexia, muscle wasting, HIV, okay. So if you use smartly and you have a sufficient knowledge to understand,
Exactly.
okay, smartly, minimal amounts. When Dennis, Chris, and I talk about our cycles back in the day,
Milos, minimal amounts for in the case that they use. Let's say DECA, they don't use 600 milligrams a week on an old person.
Yeah, of course.
They use, I don't know, maybe 60.
They can use, 100 milligrams. I mean, I'm just going to give him a little plan to research. You have 3 naturally occurring androgens, testosterone, DHT, and 19-nortest or nandrolones. So you have 3 naturally. If you bump up little tiny bit of all 3, or you choose 2, teeny tiny bit. Seriously, that replacement therapy or enhancement therapy. It's accepted that when you lose it to replace, okay? But how about to just enhance it slightly over your natural limits, okay?
Exactly. And you know why I agree with him is because there's something called the myonuclei theory of how much muscle you can put on. So myonuclei are the nucleus in your muscle cells. So the myonuclei are set by your genetics. So for example, how much myonuclei I have and how much myonuclei you have are all set by genetics. And the only way to increase the number of myonuclei are anabolic steroids. So there's no other way to increase them. So if you do 1 or 2 cycles, and you do them intelligently, you can increase the number of your myonuclei and thereby increase your genetic potential without really having any side effects. Now, people are going to be like, this doctor's crazy. I'm not saying this as medical advice or anything. I'm just saying this as a theoretical thing and as a discussion.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, because I'm not medically licensed. Because Sean Ray is after all the guys that saying anything. You have no license, you can't say a thing. But you can, right? So anyway, that's something to consider.
So let's say you're injecting in different body parts these different molecules, these different substances. Is that going to damage that muscle group eventually?
Like anabolic steroids?
In your mind, yeah, in your mind. Whether it's in your whether it's in your back, in your chest, in your bicep, in your tricep, in your quads. Can you see that happening?
No, the only thing I've seen clinically is sometimes people, when they do get a bad injection or a bad product, probably, sometimes they get myositis, which is inflammation of the muscle, or they get a cyst, or they get even hematoma or infection, stuff like that. And then that causes local trauma and that can affect the muscle. But I think those are just like exceptions, and those are probably bad product more than anything else. I don't think it's that.
And also when you train that muscle, you are putting little small tears in that muscle as you train, because that's what burns. That's what
micro tears.
Yeah, micro tears. You break it down, and then the obviously the steroid is going to help you utilize protein in a higher manner to where you can rebuild it up faster. But so you don't see that can be some type of damaging factor.
I
Long
think
run?
muscle. I mean, muscle is the organ of longevity, which means it's the most protective organ of your body. People always think of kidney, heart, whatever, but they forget that muscle is a complex organ system. What that means is it sends signals throughout your whole body. So it has signals. It has something called myokines. Myokines are little proteins that are cytokines. They're messengers, and they go throughout your whole body, and they send signals to reduce inflammation. They fight diabetes. They prevent Alzheimer's. They turn on oncosuppressor genes. Oncosuppressor genes are what, when they're turned off, they increase the risk of cancer. So they help prevent cancer as well. So muscle is by far the most important tool for longevity and health and quality. There's like no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like there's so much data on it. Poliquin was actually the guy I used to follow a lot, and he used to talk about this. I remember he quoted a study from Tufts University where they looked at grip strength, and the people who had the best grip strength had the best quality of life and longevity, and that's just grip strength. So imagine if you actually measure stuff like squats and like like a functional movement pattern that actually has some sort of translation into real life. Like people who have real strength and real muscle would definitely are going to have better quality of life and, in my opinion, live longer. Obviously, there's going to be a trade-off. If you took too much anabolic steroids, then obviously it can have effect on your other organs. But I'm talking about like Milos was saying, if you're doing it intelligently, if you're doing it intelligently, like I don't think you're going to cause a lot of harm.
But there's understanding, because we've been watching over the years, all of us can attest to it. We've been seeing guys with calves disappearing, lats disappearing.
Oh, that's
muscles just not there no more. So that's
Okay.
what I'm.
But I think that has something to do with nerve damage, though.
not just that. I mean,
But I'm saying, like, all of it. Go
okay,
ahead.
so maybe Dr. Khan didn't exactly understand your question. So I know where you're leading, because there is a lot of it. Every injection is trauma, right? Any penetration, to the
Right.
tissue can be trauma and cause fibrosis and even necrosis, right? If it's repetitive, and then you go in the scar tissue and more. But this is, depends of the gauge of the needle and all this stuff. Yeah,
All of that, yep.
we've seen that happen. But just in general, I completely agree with Dr. Khan that it shouldn't be damaging at all. But this kind is a completely different story. We don't want to go in that direction.
And guess what the best way to get rid of scar tissue is stem cells. If you have scar buildup and fibrosis.
Oh, well, shit. Well, there you go.
There's another one. Here's another one.
Another one.
That's point number 6.
Yeah.
So we can drop the shit and we'll leave it at 5.
But would it really help? Because you mentioned Charles. Charles did actually gave me. I now forgot the name. I'm so mad. Injectable form that was 50 cc. It starts with S. I can't remember the whole name now. Because COVID. Killed my brain. By the way, that's why I wanted to see if you have a treatment for that too.
Yep. We can do. So what we do is we inject the stem cells into your cerebrospinal fluid, and it goes to your brain. We do it for patients with stroke and MS and Parkinson's.
Oh wow, we coming.
Okay, so I'm going to confess this also. I had a COVID 4 times, 3 times after the Olympias, every time. And I was saying the other day, if I die, whatever people are going to, point fingers, steroids. And I said, steroids never did a single negative side effect that I can confess and say, oh, guys, I regret it. But this COVID is like something else. I cannot inhale without like major pain.
Oh my God.
You still you feel that you have some long-lasting side effects from COVID?
100%.
Scar tissue.
Exhaustion, physical exhaustion, weakness, cloudness in my mind. I can't remember Serbian language. I talked to my family, and I can't remember the simple words. Like,
But that happens to me too when I speak German, and sometimes I can't remember the word. It's coming out in English, but I can't. I know it. I know it, but it's just not popping out. It happens to me too. I don't think.
Yeah, no, Milos, we can definitely treat you, especially with the IV stem cells and the hyperbaric oxygen together are perfect for what you have. So the hyperbaric oxygen helps with the lung tissue as well, but it also helps with cognition and focus and mental clarity.
Yeah, I need that. I need that too.
Yeah.
7.
We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. Don't worry.
You go to hyperbaric chamber, right? For a while. Or how does it? You see,
Hyperbaric oxygen is amazing too. Like, and it works perfect with the stem cells. It's not, I don't think it's enough on its own, but with the stem cells, it's great.
Yeah, I want all that.
I want to fix my face.
Yeah.
I want to fix my
That's
face.
you.
Give me
You're like 10 years
Yeah,
too
I'm
late,
done.
Chris.
I'm done.
Yeah, he wants that beauty face back, that beautiful face.
Yeah, man. I want my
That event. He want that Evander Holyfield look back.
Yeah, I want to shave this off, and I want my shit back. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm shaving this.
And some
shit.
hair.
Hey,
I don't care
yeah, we
about
talked
that.
about that with Fuad, how you can take there's a company working on it where you can take one hair follicle and you can grow a petri dish of stem cell hair follicles, and then you can implant them one by one and then grow your whole hair back.
Wow.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
that's so it'll cure baldness.
Hey, Chris,
Oh man.
back to the Jerry curl.
Let's go, baby.
Dr. Adil, man, I appreciate your time, and I know you're busy. And I'm looking forward to all of us and a lot more to contacting you to come get some treatment, because I know I'm all in 100%. I know Chris, and I know Milos is in. I can tell right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Man,
sold
that's
on it.
awesome.
I hear before, right? But every time you take with a grain of salt. But you speak from the heart, your enthusiasm, your knowledge. It's very convincing.
Yeah.
You know, it's for sure. You know, I would be on the first flight if I could. You know, because that sounds like all of us should do it.
Yeah.
Humanity
Yeah.
to have almost as a mandatory.
Hey, we should probably do like a Dr. Adil Khan camp in Los Cabos and bring a whole bus full of people.
That's it.
You'd be like,
That's what we're doing after. We're actually doing that after the NHL and NBA. That's why I'm going to Italy. We're doing a camp for the hockey and basketball players.
yeah, because then we can ask for that group discount.
Is that
Exactly. That's it.
Is that what Kobe Bryant had done in Germany back in the day?
Yeah, it was a plasma injection. I know his doctor Peter Willing, and it was a plasma injection. It was a second generation plasma, but that plasma, and now it's old technology compared to what we have now. You know, it's the innovation is happening so fast. So like LeBron James's doctor, like he's a friend of mine, and he gets stem cell injections done every off season for his knees, because he has a little bit of thinning of his cartilage.
No
So
wonder.
it's just like
No wonder.
LeBron spends $1 million on his body every year. You know, like he's like these people, everyone's investing into them.
Right. Yeah.
So it makes sense, and like I'm looking forward to making you guys, like all of you guys, like it'll be fun to document your journey and see what kind of response you get, and it'll be good to see.
Absolutely. So we'll keep you posted. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. That wraps up our podcast. I love this one because this one is very informative, and I think
This is awesome, man.
people gonna like
Thanks for all your help and coming on and
Yeah, thanks for all your
your
notes.
knowledge, man.
And
Yeah,
Doc-
man.
And Doc, I will.
Can I ask-
a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, can I ask for a phone number from Regan?
Yeah. Reagan has my contact.
All right.
Yeah.
And Dennis has it too.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch, Doc. Thank you. I appreciate you. Take care.
so much.
You guys be safe. All the best.